Jai Shri Krishna. Due to COVID-19, there has been a big gap since we met last. I hope that we can meet regularly, virtually, till this pandemic is over. I do not know how many people follow these talks. To those who follow the message of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, I would like to share some thoughts which I believe are important for us human beings. First, Sri Krishna was an avatar of Supreme Lord Ishwar, which was revealed in Treta Yuga. Bhagavan Sri Krishna has said this to Arjuna throughout Gita. Hindu belief is that he was the avatar of Vishnu. This is because this Ishwar avatar accepted the avatar and revealed himself embodied in the form of Vishnu. You see, Ishwar can take avatar and reveal himself in any form. Sri Krishna avatar was an Ubhaydarshi avatar. We call him Ubhaydarshi because Ubhaydarshi means is that he could see all karma as well as could send the worthy jeev to the state of moksha. He can make those who are unworthy, he can make them worthy. This he does by giving the jnana. The jnana is given to those who totally surrender themselves to Ishwar. When Arjuna did this, Sri Krishna avatar started giving jnana to Arjuna. Without total surrender, one does not qualify to get jnana. And what total surrender is, you accept him as a Ishwar avatar and as your Isht, and you are willing to do whatever he says. You accept everything. So Gita has no stories. Jnana really has no stories. It contains only jnana. That is why some people they cannot understand, they cannot relate to Gita, because most people in all religions relate to their faith through some stories. So in his absence, since Bhagavan Krishna is not here, we pray to him and he will help us understand the jnana which is embodied in Gita. Next, it is important to understand that only humans with fully developed mind are able to accept jnana. It is very important. Mind has to be fully developed. If somebody doesn't have all the faculties, he is not able to receive the jnana. It is no accident that the word man is part of human as well as manushya or man. Now you may wonder why I am going into all this. There are two reasons. One is when someone is terminally ill, what do? We try to make them as comfortable as possible, to make their passing peaceful. Even the Disney World gives the people, the little children who are terminally ill, they invite them to visit the Disney World. If you think, you will know that all of us are terminally ill. The disease is called death, and we are born with this disease. No matter how much we try to prevent it, the death is inevitable. This is going to happen. So even when we get sick, we go to doctor gives medication. The disease takes its own course. Only thing that medication does is to makes us comfortable. If you have a cold, you get medication, you feel a little better. But the cold will take its own course and go on, and then you will be free of cold. So what we should be doing in the span of time between birth and death? Shouldn't we try to find peace and make ourselves and others comfortable and happy? This cannot be contradicted, since it is the truth. In chapter 2, Shlok 27, Bhagavan Krishna told Arjuna, Jatasya hi dhruva mrityu, dhruvam janma mritascha, tasmat apariharya arthe, na tvam shochut arhasi. Of that which is born, death is certain. Of that which is dead, birth is certain. Over the unavoidable, therefore, thou shalt not grieve. So instead of grieving about things in this world, we try to find peace and make ourselves and everyone else around happy. That is the best way to live in this world. That way, if you have conflict, you resolve the conflict and both parties are happy. It's natural, conflict is going to be natural. Because as we will see today, it's part of our subhav. Every jeev has different subhav. And when there's two different subhav, jeev, there is going to be some conflict. That is the law. Therefore, we should try to find peace. The peace can only be found in Ishwar Gyan. There is nowhere there is peace except in Ishwar. Ishwar Bhakti or Ishwar Gyan. We have seen this in Gita. We learned that when we enter in the sansar, we must act, perform karma. That is given. We cannot live even for a moment in this sansar without doing karma. Because Bhagavan Krishna says, the three gunas of the Prakriti will force you to do karma. There is no other way. How we act depends on our subhav. When we do act or karma, it depends on our subhav, the way we do it. Two people can do the same thing in totally different ways because their subhav is different. When we act, we accumulate either the divine or the demonical, Daivi or Asuri properties that we learned in the chapter earlier. In the 16th chapter, we learned that various divine and demonical properties and what are their effects on us. How do they affect us? At the end of the chapters, Bhagavan said that one who discarding the injunctions of scripture, Shastra, Agya, arbitrarily acts according to his will. When a person acts according to his will arbitrarily, what is going on? It says ahankar which is coming in the way. I know this, I know how to do it. Right? But for doing anything in the sansar, Shastra has defined everything how to do any action. But nobody has time to study Shastra. So what they do, we all do according to our own free will. He neither attains perfection, the person who does not follow the Shastra, Vidhi, he neither attains perfection, nor the supreme goal nor even happiness in their life. Therefore, Bhagavan said, let the Shastra be the authority in ascertaining what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. Both are important. Having known this ordinance of the Shastra, thou should act here. Here means in the sansara. This puts the responsibility squarely on our shoulders. We have to know what the Vidhi, Shastra Vidhi is, and then how to act. Nobody is there to help you. You are on your own on this. Having heard this, a question was raised in the mind of Arjuna. This is where the next chapter begins. This chapter is complementary to the 16th chapter. In first 6 shlokas, the subject matter is that of Shraddha, Tap, neglecting the ordinance of the Shastra. Those are the things Bhagavan has discussed. In Shlok 7 to 22, Bhagavan tells difference in the yagna, different kind of yagna, different kind of diet, ahar, because they are all related to Subhav. Devotional penance, tap, what kind of tap? There are different kind of tap. And charitable giving, meaning dan. Finally, in Shlok 23 to 28, the use of Om Tat Sat has been described. So, we will start with Shlok number 1. Arjuna Uvach.
Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidhimutsrajya Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tesham Nishtha Ka Krishna Sattwamaho Rajastamaha.
Arjuna says, O Krishna, ye, meaning those, yajante, perform yagna, ashraddhaya anvita, endued with shraddha. Shraddhaya anvita, they are endued, means shraddha yukt. They are endued with shraddha. But Shastra vidhim utsrajya, setting aside the ordinance of Shastra, Shastra vidhi. These people, those people who perform yagna, they have lot of shraddha, but they set aside the ordinance of Shastra. Tesham nishtha tuka, where they stand, and they and their yagna, where there is a stand, what is their definitive place? What will happen to them? What they can expect? So Arjuna asked, if somebody has a lot of shraddha but they do not follow the Shastra Vidhi and they perform yagna, where do they stand? Because in the last chapter you told us that you should follow the Shastra Vidhi. He says, Sattvam aho rajatama. If it is sattvic, rajasi or tamasi, what place is their yagna we're going to find? Where does their yagna stand? In sattva, raj or tam? This is a straightforward question of Arjuna to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Just like a child, you tell somebody, this is what you should do. Immediately, the child brain works very, very quick. He'll say, what will happen if I don't do this? Or if I do this way or that way. So that's what Arjuna is doing. He wants to know, he wants to learn. Here we should understand the difference between home and yagna. They are two different things. The Arya Samaaj, when that came in existence, they called home yagna. But in reality, home or havan is different from yagna. Home is when we offer fragrant material to the holy fire. This is called ahuti. In any havan, you put ahuti, meaning that through this offering, we are inviting and asking the devata to accept the worship. That is what havan does. When you put ahuti, swaha, that means you are inviting that devata whose worship you are doing. Yagna, on the other hand, consists of three actions. There's three parts. Dev Puja, number one, worshipping the deity. Sangati Karan, fellowship. You get together, you don't do by yourself sitting there. And Daneshu, charitable giving. You must have dan, mostly annadan, feed people. And if, like in Hindu religion, people do Satyanarayan Puja, the priest will come, he'll do the puja, you will invite your friends. At the end of the puja, you give money to the priest as dan, and then feed everybody, and there's annadan. So it becomes a yagna. This is the way of worship in every religion. Everyone does that. Even Christianity, they have a lot of fellowship. In church, they go have fellowship. They give money, charitable giving. They feed people, each other. They go and have feasts. Same thing in Islam. Jews, everywhere is the same thing. So everyone is performing the worship in the form of yagna. We have discussed this before. Now every action performed gets assigned to one of the three gunas. So whatever action we do, immediately the devata perceives what you're doing, and that whatever the guna is involved in that action, that devata of that guna will accept that worship. That's the way it is. It's constantly going on without us knowing. It's in the background. It's unseen. So the three gunas, the Prakriti means Maya, acts with the three gunas. That's how the Maya acts. Here the question relates to the three gunas. The question of Arjuna relates to three gunas. Where does their worship stand? Rajasi, Sattvic or Tamasi? That's what he's asking. Because in the last shloka of chapter 16, Shastra Vidhi was mentioned with respect to the action of sansar, which is Trigun. Arjuna's question is quite appropriate. In every religion or faith, people worship with great deal of reverence, lot of Shraddha. People will do whatever needs to be done, whatever asked of them when it comes to their faith and religion. Only a few may know how the proper Shastra Vidhi is supposed to be done. Shraddha everybody has in every religion. But not many people know what is the proper way of doing, what is the actual Vidhi according to the Shastra. Even the priest in his prayer asks for forgiveness for any mistakes he may have made. So here Arjuna wants to know the place of these people. Bhagavan Sri Chakradhar has made this noticeably clear, very clear. He said that no action goes unrewarded. Every action gets rewarded. One gets the fruit of the action depending on how the action is performed. If the karma or the action is done with vidhi, shastra vidhi, one will get rewarded completely. You get total reward. So example which I remember is, if you go to feed people, lot of sadhu sannyasi in some tirth wherever, and you always, somebody is worrying about how much it's going to cost. That's number one thing comes in people's mind. So cut corners, they may say, well, these are all sadhus anyway. Just get some outdated ghee or something and cook into that, that's fine. Some people do that. So when they do that, Devata perceives right away what you're trying to do. Okay? And the fruit of the action, the reward gets reduced because you have not done proper Shraddha in there. However, when the karma is performed only with Shraddha, Shraddhanvita, the fruit may be little less. So first is you perform the action, yajna, with vidhi, shastra vidhi, total vidhi, complete. Then you get total, complete fruit, reward of that action. But if you are doing just with Shraddha because you don't know the vidhi of the shastra, then the reward may be little less. According to Bhagavan Sri Chakradhar, if the action is performed according to Shraddha, according to Shastra Vidhi, it is good. However, when the action is performed outside of it, then it becomes a bhav kriya. Shraddha is what? It's a bhav, our bhav from within us. For such a kriya, there is no need for the vidhi. When somebody is performing bhav kriya, vidhi does not come into play. Such was the bhakti which Prahlad did, that of Vishnu. Prahlad's bhakti of Vishnu was all bhav kriya. It was not vidhi. And his bhav took him higher and higher and higher, all the way to highest Devata, Vishnu Devata. And that Devata ordered the lowest Devata, Yakshini, to kill Hiranyakashipu and took the Narsingha avatar. And so that was a bhav kriya. So bhav kriya is also very good. So an action can be with vidhi, bhav, or various combination of the two. Because everybody has Shraddha. So everybody does bhav kriya. Along with that, if you do some vidhi also with it, then it becomes really good. Bhagavan Sri Krishna tells Arjuna,
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trividha Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu.
Bhagavan says, there are three types of Shraddha or devotion. Dehinam, of the embodied. Who does devotion? The embodied human beings. Jeev does devotion. Swabhavaja, sa Shraddha. And this Shraddha is born of their Swabhav. That Shraddha, ev iti trividha bhavati, is only threefold. There is only threefold Shraddha. What are these three types of Shraddha? Satviki, cha Rajasi, cha Tamasi. Satviki or Rajasi or Tamasi. Bhagavan says, Tam Shrunu, do thou hear it from me. So the threefold Shraddha of the embodied humans, that is born of their Swabhav, is only Satviki or Rajasi or Tamasi. There is no other thing. Because it's all in the sansar. And sansar is Trigunatma. So everything is Trivid. Bhagavan says, you hear that from me. every human selects their Ishta according to their Shraddha, which is born of the three gunas of the Prakriti. So this is something you need to understand. Our Shraddha is born with us, it comes with us, and is decided by the three gunas of the Prakriti, based on what guna action we performed in the past. That creates our Swabhav, Shraddha. The Bhakt of Devi worships Shakti, so his Shraddha will be different from the one who worships Vishnu or Sattvic. Now in the next shlok, so far only Shraddha is only threefold. That's all. In the next shlok, Bhagavan tells what Sattviki Shraddha is like.
Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayoyam purusho Yo yashraddhasya eva saha.
Sattva Rupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Bharat, Arjun, Sarvasya Shraddha, Shraddha of everyone. Satya and Rupa Bhavati is according to their Sattva. Here, word Sattva refers to the Jeev within each of us. Okay, it's not Satogun. It's the Jeev which is each one of us. It is the Jeev within us which speaks. It is the Jeev within us which sees. It is the Jeev within us which hears. It is the Jeev within us who acts. And Jeev within us which thinks. So there is Jeev within us. It is called Sattva. So Shraddha is Anurup, means exactly like Jeev within us. That is what Shraddha we have. And our Shraddha will be exactly like what is Jeev within us. There is our Jeev within which is of us. This is our Jeev. The Devta which has given us our body has also given us our Swabhav. Is born through that Jeev within us. Here we will call it our Jeev Swabhav. What is our Swabhav? Our Swabhav is our Jeev Swabhav. Because there is Jeev within us and all the Swabhav is due to that Jeev. Is embodied in that Jeev. And we act our Swabhav, we act according to what the Swabhav, the Jeev is. Because we ourselves, body is jad, cannot do anything. Is the consciousness within us, which is our Jeev, is the one which is doing everything. So, and the Swabhav of that Jeev is what our Swabhav is. That is expressed through our body, our actions. So that is what Swabhav is. That is why it's called Sahaj Swabhav. Sa means with, Ja means born, Sahaj, born with us. That is Swabhav. That is why it is very difficult to change Swabhav. It can be changed, but it's not possible, very easy. It's not easy. Only Ishwar can do that. No one can change their Swabhav. They will do the same thing over and over again because that is what their Jeev is made up of. Because that is what we are within. So if the natural disposition of Jeev within us is primarily Sattvic, so will be our Shraddha. Shraddhamaya ayam Purusha. This Purush is built with his Shraddha. So we are all built with our Shraddha. The Jeev within us is built with the Shraddha. His Shraddha is his fabric. It is made up of that Shraddha, of that. That is the fabric of the Jeev. Yasa ev ya yachadra. He verily is what his Shraddha is. That's what Bhagavan says. Every human being is what their Shraddha is. And their Shraddha is of that Jeev within each one of us. That is how he worships, acts, because that is his natural disposition. He doesn't know any other way. It came with him, his Jeev. If his Shraddha is for Devas, Devas is a word used for higher Devatas. He is Satoguni. If it is for Yaksh Rakshas, he is Rajoguni. And if it is for Bhut Pret, his natural disposition will be Tamoguni. So everyone has his own Shraddha, which is according to their Swabhava. So you take people who do worship in Shamshan Ghat, right? Cremation field. They are Tamogun because they are worshipping Bhut. And they become like that. And their Swabhava is that way. That's why they do what they do. That which we are born with, it is also called Sahaj Swabhava. I just explained what Sahaj Swabhava means. In the next shlok, Bhagavan explains how to identify one's Shraddha based on who do they worship. We went into a little bit, now Bhagavan is telling the same thing in next shlok.
Yajante satvika devan yaksharaksham rajasaha pretan bhutaganam chanye yajante tamasa janaha.
Sattvic people, those people who Shraddha is Sattvic, worship Devas, Devan. And the Rajoguni worship Yaksh and Rakshasa. However, those with Tamoguni disposition worship Pret and host of Bhutgana. Yaksh are those, they are also called demigod. They are half human, half Devata. They are present in Antariksh, outside the Swarg or the heaven. They sing and dance to please the Indra Devata. They are always on the outside singing and dancing. So all the music is Gandharv Vidya. They are always engaged in eating, drinking, singing, dancing, etc. So all the party going on in this world is there is Yaksh, Rakshas Devata are present there. That's what the party is all about. Singing, dancing, eating, drinking. And the people who sing and dance, they have to have an audience, don't they? Like Yaksh and Rakshas, those Devatas are dancing to please Indra Devata. So same way on earth, their singers and dancers please their audience. That's the whole thing about. And what audience does, even the singers and dancers, they eat and drink, same thing audience do. So exactly the same thing. It's a Rajogun. They are Gandharv Devata. Whatever one gets in Sansar, he gets from these Gandharv Devata. Today, all worships are that of these Devatas. In this day and age, that's what Devata is, which is accepting the worship. Anyone who worships them, They do so to fulfill some desire, manoti. They want to get something. Whether one worships some Swami, Shiva or Devi, there the bhav is that of Yaksh and Rakshas. Some people worship human beings, right? That's Yaksh, Rakshas will take that worship. Then there are those who worship graves, do siddhi at cremation ground. People go to some peer's grave and they put chadar on it. They go there with some desire to be fulfilled, and they say, when it's done, I will come and do this. And they have to go and do it, otherwise that devata is going to punish them. Their worship is that of tamoguni shraddha. All graves are the samadhi of bhoot. Wherever there is graveyard, in the graves, in the graveyard, is samadhi of bhoot. What the bhoot means here? Bhoot is the one which was here but is not here anymore. Bhoot in the past. Bhoot means past. So somebody was here, but he passed away. So he is called Bhoot. That's why Bhagavan Krishna used Prani Bhoot in the Gita. And Pret is the same thing. Pra-it. He was here, but it's gone so far away I can't even see him. So that's Pret. So that's what Bhoot and Pret means here. In the next two shlokas, Bhagavan shows his disapproval to those who perform formidable tap contrary to the Shastra. Ghor tap they do, which is not acceptable to Bhagavan Krishna. So next shlok.
Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanaha dambhahankara sanyuktaha kamaraga balanvitaha karshayantah sharirastham bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivantash sharirastham tan vidhyasura nishchayan.
Those who practice dire penance of an arbitrary type that is not sanctioned by the scripture or the Shastra, and they are full of hypocrisy, egotism, endowed with the power of the lust and attachment, obsessed with desire and pride of power. I have so much power. No? They torture senseless. As they are senseless peoples. They cause a lot of torture. All the organs in the body, they torture their body. And even me, Bhagavan say, even me who is dwelling in that body. You see, we have Jeev in our body, right? Jeev has a lot of, all the Devta Shakti are in this body. Whole Brahman, Devta Shakti are in this body. So when somebody does some sort of tap, which causes torture to the body, that is not acceptable to Bhagavan. See, that is not right. Bhagavan says, know these senseless people to be of Asuri resolve. They are Asuri people. So any type of tap that causes any type of pain or torture to the body, for example, some people starve themselves. Doing vrat, They will not eat for 7, say 8 days, whatever it is. They want Nirjala Vrat. They will not drink any water. All this stuff is really not right because torturing your body. And body is given to you for performing some karma. It is not your body. Okay? It's given to us and it's taken away. If it is your body, then you won't let it go. You can't let it, it will never go, right? So it's not your body. It's given to us. And whatever is given to you in good faith, you are torturing it by not eating. By some people stand on one leg and do prayer. Some people take a lot of big heavy weight on their head and do parikrama, walk around temple and all this kind of stuff. They do this to fulfill certain desire. They want something, right? But in the process they are torturing. Bhagavan says, consider them to be asuri prakriti people. They are not Devi prakriti, they are asuri people. So, Bhagavan said, know them to be demonic resolve. Today, I hope you go away with understanding that within each one of us, there is what is called Jeev. That one's something we need to really understand. And these words are very confusing. Atma, Jeev, Jivatma, all these words are very confusing. Atma Shabd is used for many things, even mind. For mind in Gita, Bhagavan Krishna used Atma word. So we have to have good understanding. So here today we learned there is a Jeev within us. What speaks, what sees, what all the senses are that of that Jeev. And the power of those senses, the way they are given is according to our Swabhav. So everybody has a hand. Somebody, their Swabhav is they will use their hand to give other people, help other people, pick up the people who fall down, pick them up. Other people will use their hand to push other people out of their way, right? Slap people, right? These are different kind of people. Same hand, but the Jeev is different within different people. And that Jeev is making them do all these things. Some people, if their Jeev is Sattvic, they'll do Satoguni things. They will help people. If it's Rajoguni, they will cheat other people for their own benefit, right? Get other people's money. Same thing, they're using their mind, their Jeev is doing that. And Tamoguni, they hurt other people, cause problems for society. So this is very important thing. And that is what each and every one's Swabhav is, whatever this Swabhav Jeev is born with. Okay? And it is not easy to change that Swabhav, because that is given by Devta, and Devta is making sure that you follow that Swabhav. Okay? So next time we will go into different kind of food, tap, and keep on going. So it will take about 2-3 more sittings to do this. The cycle continues. What is the cycle? The action cycle, the life cycle. It gets keep modifying. Whatever we are doing right now, that is dictating what our Swabhav is going to be in the future, in coming life. And the cycle continues till one gets the moksha. Eventually we will all get to the point where we will be worthy of going to the moksha. So Jeev in us attains moksha, means free of all the bondage. So we will expand some of these things next time and go into different type of foods. Sri Krishna.